this is a good segue from the other presentation, because for you to get to where a lot of these women are, and I put in some pictures of real life people you probably have come across on social media on this, that are doing so well in what they're doing in different aspects of their careers, just to motivate you that you can do it. And that is where confidence, comes in, your self-esteem comes in into how big you dream and how you're able to go beyond that to plan to succeed. Okay. So I'm going to be asking you a few questions along the way so that I don't feel I'm talking to myself. Please answer me. Why do you think career guidance matters? It's just sometimes we have things in our heads and we can't seem to make decisions. Everybody here are at different ages, at different stages in figuring out where they want to go to, what they want to do with their life. Some are already on the path to doing that. But, um, having career guidance helps you be confident in the path that you've chosen for yourself, not just what people around you are choosing for you. I know, I don't know if Nigeria has changed now, but back then, I remember secondary school. If you're good in math in JS3, if depending on how well you did in your JS3 exam, you're gonna be pushed into the sciences. It's like, oh, you're very intelligent, go to science. Nobody cares about what you really want to do. I mean, at that age, people didn't really know what they want to do, but you end up finding yourself in science, and you're like, maybe much later, you're like, okay, maybe I wanted to be, a lawyer or something. You can always still do that, but understand your strength and the path that you might want to take, and don't allow people to choose for you. We have this thing where they used to say either you're a doctor, a lawyer, or what else, an engineer, or you're a failure, but ignore all of that. That doesn't matter. Also, with identifying that, you can now connect, the subjects you take, the kind of clubs in school that you kind of participate in and sometimes lead, along the way, and the skills you develop, you know, how that would connect to what you eventually do in real life, like work, and what brings you income later in life. So it's important to have that pathway, where you get to your dream destination, right? Where you want to end up in life. But along the path in getting there, you need to build that resilience. You're going to have some people telling you, oh, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. There will be distractions. Okay, a woman shouldn't be thinking like that. You should be doing this. There might be pressure to go a different path. But if you're really clear, if you have set goals for yourself, it gives you a clearer picture of where you want to go to. And so you'll be able to handle some of those distractions. I know it can be challenging sometimes, and it's okay if people call you, oh, you're stubborn. That's fine. You're just resilient. You can correct them and say you're just resilient. You're not stubborn because you know where you want to go to. Okay. And it's good if you start early. And this is not to put pressure, because sometimes it takes some of us a little while to really decide where we want to end up. But you can start teasing out some of the things that are interesting to you, some of your natural talent, some of the things you like doing, and to help you make some small decisions, nothing big right now, but small decisions that can put you in the right path to opportunities later. Okay. So know yourself, right? So that's how you start. Know yourself, reflect in yourself, who you are, what you like, explore different options. And that would mean, it's a great thing now that we have access to internet. So you can use those not just for, going on Insta blog or whatever and knowing the real celebrity gossip, but you can actually harness that to to explore options and see what people are doing around you, around the world. You know, you can actually build skills on the internet, sometimes free of charge. And you can now start setting goals into how you want to improve on that, which path you might want to take you closer to where you need to be. Okay, so um, I talked about, knowing yourself, and this is where it really starts. So a good way is to discover your talent. So I want to ask, who has talent here? What can you tell me is your talent? Okay, quickly, I want to know people's talent. I'm sure everybody here is really talented. Just share in the chat, what your talent is, you know, be confident, right? Art. Okay. I see you said art. So you like art, you like drawing. That's amazing. I love arts too. I actually do paintings and stuff like that and graphic design. So that's great. Cooking. Oh wow. I love cooking too. That's actually one of my other talents. Okay. I see that we're sharing, we have a lot in common, catering services. Oh wow. That's amazing. So talent is who you really are. Like, so what you do very well, that natural thing in you, what feels natural, comes naturally to you. Okay, you just love art, you like painting, and you paint so easily, even without thinking about it. That is your strength, and that's some stands you out from the crowd. People notice that about you. It's like, oh, you cook so well, like maybe more than everybody around you, your age mates, and and all of that. Science, oh great, that is great. Research, creativity, amazing. So, but I want us to go beyond talent, right? Because I saw, science and creativity. Now we want to now differentiate that from what our interests are, right? So what is your interest, and does research come naturally to you, or did you have to, or do you find it easy or do you enjoy doing it? Is it something you do and you had to develop and you had to learn over time? But it's not like you were born, doing that, right? So that is where we need to differentiate what talents are and what interests are, right? So with talent, that is kind of like inborn, you just do it too well. But interest, right, is what you enjoy doing. You can do it forever. It's like you're doing research, you can take the whole day doing research, you enjoy it. Time flies, you don't even feel it. The topics that excite you, like science, those are interests, right? You had to learn it, you enjoy learning it, right? But it's not like you grew up doing that. So why am I talking about talent and interest? Because those kind of um, form sometimes a basis on what we end up doing, on what career you eventually choose, right? So when you add that to maybe your core values, right? So your core values are, what matters to me? Is it authenticity? Is it transparency? Is it compassion? Is it stability? Is it leadership? Is it that I just want to make a lot of money? That is fine, right? Who doesn't want to live well? But it now determines what you now choose as your career at the end of the day. Let's say you have a talent. Um, okay, I'll just take myself for instance. I mentioned I love art. I've been painting for a long time. I do that easily. I love cooking. I love making clothes. What else do I do? Like there's a lot of things I could do which were natural talents. I didn't really have to learn them per se. And I enjoy doing that. But what were my interests, right? So I loved the talent, but I wasn't really interested in doing that long term. Okay, interest. You can have both talent and interest overlap. So one of the talents I had and interest was like, okay, that overlap with interest was, okay, I enjoy cooking. That came naturally to me, but I enjoy learning more about it. I enjoy learning. Time flies when I'm cooking. But to to go with my values, is it something I see myself doing long term? And believe me, I tried it for some months and it's like, okay, oh, this is not sustainable. This is not something I want to do real time. So I went back to the drawing board into what I really wanted to do. And this is not something that I stopped myself from doing anything in the meantime. I was still going ahead in my education, and I realized that I really like teaching and talking to people. And that kind of carved the path in that uh, I enjoy doing that, and I carved the path to what would eventually lead to an income. And that is where I find myself right now. So sometimes, when you now put all those into boxes, you can find that one strength can lead to so many careers, right? You like to solve problems, you like to help people. And this is just very few example, right? It's not all inclusive. So like you like to solve problems. Let's say you now decide to go into medicine, but medicine alone could help you solve problems and also help people because you're also doing that with medicine. And if you're able to find a new method of treating people, you can actually write and communicate that. And this whole nothing fits into one specific box, right? So you can do one thing and achieve different aspects that you want to achieve in your career. But this is to say, having an idea of merging talents with interests and finding core values would help you decide on what career you want to take in the future. Let's say you you have that natural ability of convincing people to buy things, and you'll say, oh yeah, I'm going into sales. But then your core value is transparency, and you're like, wait a minute, if I'm that transparent with people, I'm not going to make any profit. So probably sales might not be the right thing for you because you got to tell people this and that and make some money. Not to say that you always have to be dishonest, but you have to add a little bit extra for you to make profit, and you can't sell to people exactly how you bought it or you're not going to make any money, right? And makes sense. So you need to find that one way or the other. But one thing I want to say with all of this is education is your bridge to get to the career that you need to get to. It just enhances the opportunities. It gives you a clearer vision. It gives you the discipline, right? To get to where you need to go to. Sometimes people study one thing and end up, doing something else. And that's okay. But you'll see the difference in how they use what the career they end up with or the business they end up with, how they advance it based on their educational background. You can see, let's say, your roadside tailor that only does cut and join, learn something by the roadside. Some went to, it's different from somebody that actually had a formal training in a fashion school, fashion industry, and probably went to university, have a degree. So their mindsets are different. And it's now like an international fashion designer. That is what makes a difference between those two scenarios. The other one, the vision is small. I just need this small shop by the roadside. I just need to sew one or two pieces and get few neighborhood clients, and that's it. I just need a little money to take care of my family. The other one is like, okay, I can structure this thing. I can create new designs. I can do this in a way nobody else has done before. I can reach to people beyond my immediate environment because, okay, I can harness the internet. I can do this. I can speak confidently with people, So the knowledge, it grows your knowledge, it grows your employability, it enhances the choices you have to make. And that's not to say that everybody is going to go to university. You can go to a trade school, but all this depends on what you want to do. If you want to, let's say you want to be a lawyer, you have to go to university to study law. You have to go to law school and get called into bar, right? But if you want to be, let's say, okay, it might be different in Nigeria, actually. Let me scratch that. You have to, because right here, you can, if you want to be an electrician, you can go to a trade school where you actually get hands-on training on how to become an electrician, and you can establish a company, and they sometimes even make more money than some of us that did all these degrees. But dream big, dream the biggest you can ever dream, you know, and you'll get there. And you'll have, once you have the confidence that will take you there, you're planning, you're setting goals, you're going to get there, right? And this leads us into breaking gender stereotypes, because sadly, this is one of the things that limits our success as young girls, as women. In fact, it limits your ability to even dream, right? Because there's some things that people have just decided a generalized thing about what a girl should do, what girls are supposed to dream to be, uh, what they cannot do. Oh, you're supposed to be so calm and quiet. You can't voice your opinions, or you're not behaving ladylike. That is so crazy. Can somebody share in the chat what some of the things they've been told, if you have any? I'll just give some examples and I'll come to the chat and check that. So one of the myths are like STEM and tech are for boys. In case you don't know what STEM means, that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are for boys. And that is a myth, because that is absolutely not true. Girls can excel and are excelling. Some are leaders in the STEM industry, in the STEM industry, coding. We have coding giants and even young ladies, engineering, technical trade. They're fixing machines, they're building machines. You can do all of that, right? Another thing is, yeah, I mentioned that a girl should stay quiet and wait. And that is trying to kill your confidence as a girl, right? You can be confident, right? You can speak up. You can be a leader. One thing I notice is that sometimes it's like, oh, you're vying for a position, maybe in school, and they say, oh, the president has to be a man and the vice president it has to be a woman. Why? you can you can like you can be a leader, right? But that's the environment we grow up. You can aspire to be a lot more than that. Um, so another thing, and that's a thing that is so widespread, and that has made some girls not to even try to dream. They can just do a little school and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna get married and my husband is gonna make the money and I'm just gonna sit at home. And if you know the story that happens sometimes, when you're dependent on somebody else, you and kill your own dream. You know that you're just setting up yourself for failure. So marriage is not the security you need. You need education, you need skills, employable skills. You need to be able to create choices, because you have the same brain. You can do stuff for yourself, right? Some jobs are not feminine. So it's like, oh, are you trying to be an engineer? That's for boys. Are you going to be fixing machines? Are you going to be doing, no, 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 no. Maybe you go and learn tailoring, or maybe catering, or be a secretary or something like that. That is, oh my God, please don't. I want to tell you a funny story that happened to me when I was preparing for what, okay, I was writing WIEC then. And then I was really good at math, but the general thing was like girls are not good at math. And so my cousin came from the village visited a day to the day we were going to write WAEC, and he's like, "Oh, I heard you're writing maths tomorrow. Okay, come, let me teach you maths." And he took one of the WAEC questions and was trying to solve it, and I was watching because he was doing it all wrong. And I waited for him to finish, and he didn't even get to a solution. I was like, "Okay, can I have the pen?" And I derived the equation before I even started answering the question. Derived the equation from the beginning to the point where the question started, and I solved the equation. And he was just sitting there. He just got up angry and left. I was like, okay, I didn't tell you I didn't know math, but you came up with that yourself. So that's to say, do not let stereotypes shrink you. Oh, let me see what the comments say. Why can't I see that anymore? Okay, keyboarding for boys. Okay. You want to become a gynecologist. Okay. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, keyboarding is not just for boys. I have a friend that is actually a drummer. She is so good at drumming. So, okay, what are stereotypes? Stereotypes, that's a good question. Stereotypes are things that, people generally believe to be true. Let's say they've met a few girls that, oh, do not know math, and they will now say, oh, math is not for girls. Math, the girl's brain cannot understand logical equations. Only boys are supposed to do that. Or let's say, oh, what else? It's like, oh, girls cannot be an engineer. How could they climb up the ladder to fix things? How would they be thinking of, coding or things like those are too technical. And so they create this story that now becomes a general thing that they put people into boxes. So don't let anybody's definition of who you're supposed to be shrink your future. Okay, cool. So with a good way to sometimes we can't do this all alone, right? We need mentorship. And I know some of us already have some ideas of what we want to do or dreams of what we want to do, and so we have role models. So can some of us share what who our role models are? And let me see. But role models, I need to differentiate who the role models are and who mentors are. Role models are, the people we see, leading in the fields that we're interested in. They're doing so great, and we're like, oh my God, this woman, I want to be like her. When I grow up, I want to do what she's doing, but they are not readily available to us to connect with. We're just seeing them, they're celebrities, or sometimes they're like, oh, let's say for those interested in writing, there's like Chimamanda Adichie. Oh my God, that's my role model. I want to be all of that. But mentors are people you can actually connect to on a regular basis to discuss, the steps you're making, the strides you're making, or can advise you on the steps you need to take, and inspire you to go get to start making those steps, and can advise you as you go on in your journey, um, what would work. Yeah. Yeah, role models are people we look onto. So who are your role models? Who are your role models? Let me see. Who are you looking up to? Do you have people that you look up to? So it's important to build your mentor circle. So sometimes we might look around us. It cannot. Sometimes it's you build different mentors as we get to different stages. Maybe right now that we're young, you can ask your teachers, your favorite teachers. You can tell them, okay, this is what I want to do. Older students sometimes some of your relatives that are like well educated that are doing something for themselves, you can meet them and like share some of the things you want. It could be some of your leaders of faith, but sometimes let's not really go there because yeah. Or sometimes they are life coaches, they are guidance counselors in school, right? You can meet some of those, or sometimes people that you meet, other people that you can easily have access to that are already already have something going for themselves. What you don't want to do is go to somebody for mentorship that is not really doing anything, right? Yeah, people that want to follow their path, yes. And sometimes you can actually get some of your role models to be your mentor. I know sometimes it's hard, but the internet has made the world a very small village, you know? You can find out where the email is and write them your story and how you want them to mentor you because you want to be where they are. So sometimes you have to be daring. You have to go for what you want. Sometimes, it can be a no. Sometimes nobody will answer you. But sometimes, it can be a yes. And then you now start making strides to the next level. And it now opens up doors of opportunities. So never shy away from taking steps, that some people might be like, are you crazy? You know, well, what are you even doing? Nobody would, would even answer you, but it doesn't matter what people think, right? We have to be confident and try to get to where we are. So before I get kicked out, let's see. So to be able to start now, to start thinking of where we need to be, start setting small, goals for yourself, start making repeated actions. It's a good thing to have a little journal, a little notebook that you can research, you can take a few weeks, research some of you already have some careers in mind, some do not have. So you can start, you know, researching some careers, start thinking of what talents or what your strengths are, and talk to an adult, talk to a good adult around you that can give you good advice. You can join, some of the clubs in school, the science club or the what do they call some of the essay writing clubs, the drama clubs, the whatever clubs that you feel can get you to work on some of the things you're interested in. If you have identified, a career that you want to get into, and then you see that some subjects are weak that you need to get into that career, you need to start improving on them. You need to start because you can actually do it, if you pay more attention to it. Don't tell yourself, oh no, I'm too bad at this, I can't do it. You can do it. You just pay more attention. You have to be deliberate in where you need to go to, so you now practice those skills, keep notes, tell yourself, okay, this is what I want to achieve in so time, and after a certain amount of time you come back to it, you revisit that, right? You can present some of what you've done to your mentor, ask for feedback. You can change, adjust some of your plans, right? For the next term. So it doesn't have to be, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is the only thing I'm doing. This is what I'm sticking with. Some things can slightly change as you grow and as you now say, oh, maybe this was what I was thinking, but this is not actually what it worked. So don't like set yourself up so early that, oh my God, it has to be this. It's okay to do that, but it's okay to also, change some things as you go and like, okay, this is what I've learned along the way, and I think, okay, I can adjust this a little bit, and okay, even either make it bigger or redirect that path to something else that you find more interesting. And with short-term goals, it's also good to have long-term goals, maybe something that you want to achieve, maybe like in a year or in 5 years or in 10 years. You can have that big picture where you write it on a cardboard, put it in your room, or write it in one place in your journal where you can always revisit and see that, okay, I'm taking this short-term goals because this is where I want to see myself in the long term, right? Think in stages. Don't pressure yourself to be like, oh, I need to jump and get there, because really there's some stages by which you need to get there. You need to maybe pass some exams, you need to, get into school or maybe university, you need to, get graduate, maybe get certifications along the way. In more years, you need to maybe learn more skills, get a job, build that job, specialize in that job. You know, different things. But what matters in all of this is you don't need to know everything now, right? You just need that direction on building to where you want to be. And that's where mentorship is key. People can actually help, you know, but be aware that some people might actually want to discourage you. So I would say scratch those people. Don't go to them again. Go to the ones that would, even though you're making, they might okay encourage you, maybe correct some of the things you do, but not like killing your dream, right? You don't want people to kill your dream, but have direction, be consistent, and have the courage to push your dream to where you need it to be. Let's see, what are people saying? Okay, all right. So that's all I have. I'll wait for your questions. So we have career action plans. You we've talked about all the things we need to, the actions we need to take. Take one small step this week. So this is your, right? Start now because your future is not decided by stereotypes. It's shaped by your efforts, your choices, the support you get, and courage to push it through, right? Good? Okay. So thank you. Thank you very much for listening.